I was trying to determine if this rust pit right here, there's one. Oh, where are you? There he is. That guy is going to make this, is going to leak. And so you need to know when this thing is in mean position after you've driven it with the pads in it, is the seal resting behind it or in front of it? Because if it's in front of it or over, it's going to leak. It's going to carry fluid with it every time it moves. But if the seal's back here when it's at rest position behind it, then it's not going to leak. And that's what I think is going on here, what I thought. But it's hard to tell. But you can measure, and if you measure, I figured this out, from the top of the bore to the back of the seal grooves, 13.5 millimeters. And then that's the width of my pad and rotor as they are used. Used pad, used rotor, the rotor's fine. All this stuff's okay. Pads. So this is the width of the caliper's opening itself. So the difference between this and that tells you how much wiggle the pads have, which is 9.3 millimeters. But there's two pads, so each one's got 4.65 millimeters wiggle. But that means the piston's sticking out 4.65 millimeters past the top of the bore. And since the backside of the seal is that far away from the top of the bore, that's how far away the backside of the seal is from the top of the piston. And so 18.15 away from the backside of the seal. You understand? I hope you're understanding this. So there, that's pretty close. The 18.19. And there's my rust pit. It's kind of hard to hold this and see where it is. See the pit? See it right there. There it is. See how far away it is? The seal's 4 millimeters wide. So this thing, when this thing was sitting, this car wasn't driven much, that rust formed just outside of the seal. Now when the piston moves, when you use the brakes, it's going to move, away. It's going to move to our left here in the picture. The pit's moving away from the seal, so this thing isn't going to leak. Because I was concerned, but I was pretty sure this was probably outside. And this is happening right next to that metal flat surface, that last step, this thing right here. There was corrosion, this white powder that was right in here somewhere. This is upside down. It was right. You can see it. See this? I did what I could with it. The only way to do anything else with this is to glass bead it. I mean, not glass bead it. Do not glass bead it. Just have it anodized. Because the thing is, so if you put some lube on this and it's got a nice new dust cover and you put it on right and put some, I use brake assembly lube. It looks like glycerin when I put these things together. And I don't just wipe it on. I want some volume there. You want this thing wet when you put it together. And then when you get all done, if the seal's right and everything, it'll stay inside of here. The heat may force a little of the fluid out, but it's not going to go jump onto the brake pads rubbing surfaces. And I see too many brake calipers that are stuck, that don't move, because the guy who put it together was afraid to put any lubricant on it. But if you do the math, this is pretty straightforward stuff. The way I figured this groove's 4 millimeters because the seal's 4 millimeters. I'm assuming this is 4 millimeters. It sure looks pretty close. This is somewhere between 5 and 6 by placing an Allen wrench next to it. It's less than 5. It's more than 5, but less than 6. So I gave it 5.5 millimeters. So you got 4 plus 4 plus 4 plus 1.5. That's how I got my 13.5 millimeters. And so this piston's okay, It could have rust all over the place, but as long as, all over the place, if it's outside the seal, it happened from on the exterior. See, a lot of times you'll find it on the other side of the seal because the water is accumulated inside the fluid and settled down here, and it rested on the back side of the seal. So don't assume just because you got pits, you got to throw it away. This thing is fine, and if she drives it around, it'll probably not rust. It'll take a lot longer for it to get rusty. I wonder why only this one had this corrosion on it. And I thought, did somebody throw salt water? Because the only thing I could find was salt and electrolysis that'll cause it. So it's just an unknown to me why this is the only one like it. The other side's okay. but it had white powder laying here. That's just basically aluminum corrosion. But that's how you make sure. That's how you don't buy stuff you don't need when you fix a car. You measure things, and it took a minute.